So it's been a while. I'm trying to remember actually. When was the first time we like met in person?
In person?
Was that was
Oh,
that was that was that Disney or was that
there's
something
no
else?
way. There's no way that.
Okay,
No. No, I went to your house. That was that the
that was a
first time I
separate
met you?
time. I'm not sure. So it was Lindbeck then that sort of
Yeah, I went to your
was
house
our.
with Erica, and I think that was the
Mm,
first time I actually saw you in the flesh. It's either that
okay.
or maybe we saw. No, I think that was it.
And that wasn't the same time, the same week that we went to Disneyland.
No, we
Okay.
went to Disney way later.
Gotcha. I was
Yeah,
trying to remember because I was like,
because
I
I
could have
think that was the
sworn.
last time I saw you was Disney.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that must have been the last time, which that was great. I
I
had
know.
a very good time that
That was
day.
a
And
great day, and it was so because it was rainy. There's hardly anyone there. Oh,
yeah,
it was so
yeah, I
good.
always enjoy kind of serving as like the tour guide for people, like an ultimate Disney experience, and
Mm-hmm.
I hope I did not.
Oh, it was very successful. Well, I hate. Well, what? It was 2 rides that shut down while we were in line for them. It went because
Which
one of
ones
them
were
was
they?
the oh my gosh, the one I really wanted to go on. It was a Star Wars one where you have the different jobs.
Oh,
I didn't get
yeah,
to do
that's
that.
right.
They like completely shut it
The
down that
Millennium
day.
Falcon one. Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh
man.
wow, that was a while ago then. Yeah, that was a
Yeah.
thing. Like it must have been almost pretty new. I think. Yeah. Shit.
Yeah.
Okay.
It just opened recently. It
Yeah,
wasn't like
because that was
just
the
open,
first
but yeah.
ride that opened there, and then it was Rise of Resistance later. But okay, yeah, I was just thinking back because I was like, did we meet at a con? And I don't think we did. So
No.
it must have just been like Linda goes like, oh yeah, like Michelle's like, yeah, I know her from like Twitter. Yeah, let's hang out. And
Yeah.
you were a delight, so it was great. I think a good sort of not test, but for me to see like if I'll get along with anybody is like just gauging like how much of a fucking nerd are you, and I think kind of what
And
were we
I
talking about? It
didn't
was
disappoint there.
oh no, not at all. No, it was like I think it was like Kingdom Hearts, or we were talking about Kingdom Hearts. We were talking about like different anime and stuff, and I was like, okay, weeb, okay, got it. So I
Yeah.
guess on that note, like, what have you, just general question, what have you been into lately? It doesn't have to be weeb stuff, but just during these times
These
and
dark
during your free
times.
time, what are you into?
Um, man, a lot. Well,
Mm-hmm.
a lot of stuff. Surprisingly, during this whole time, I kind of dropped off of One Piece. I'm still, I haven't been watching that because I was going hard there for a while.
How far
'Cause
did
I
you
was-
get before you dropped off?
I dropped off in like near the end of Whole Cake.
Oh, okay.
Like I
Okay.
think that I'm kind of right after like the Katakuri fight. I think that's about where I left
Mm.
off. It's been a while, so I'm not exactly sure.
Was there a reason, or just
No,
got
I
busy,
just
or?
kind of, I don't know. Well, I did get busy. I've been so busy. So that is part of it for sure. I
Okay.
haven't really been able to sit down and like watch a thing. But
Gotcha.
yeah, like I dropped off of that because I was going I was watching like 50 episodes a month.
Yeah, you were
For a
going
while.
hard. I
Yeah.
was like, hell yeah.
I had a plan.
Do you think it like did you lose interest, you think, or was it just, or like what do you think?
No, I had a system, and then
Okay.
like like the moment I got like too busy for the system, it just kind of was like, well, I haven't. You kind of get too far away from what you were doing, and then that just sort of stayed.
Yeah.
And I think that's what happened. And then so I'm gonna have
Gotcha.
to like kind of figure out where I was. I'm probably gonna have to rewatch a few episodes to get back to like, oh, this is what was happening, and this is what we're doing.
Yeah.
But once I get back on that, back on the ride there, I'll be able to get back into it.
Yeah, I haven't seen the anime in a while. I mean, oh God, I think it must have been end of Zoe, I think. I don't know if I even finished Zoe. Like, I read the manga, so I'm current on the manga. And from what I've seen of Wano, the animation, it looks like they jump crazy notches.
Wano looks so good. That's the thing. It's like I really want to get to Wano because it looks so good.
You're basically almost there.
I know. I'm so close too.
You know, it's one of those things. Like, I think a lot of people, wherever they are at One Piece, if they're not current, they always think of it as like, oh, there's just so much left, and it's like, well, what's the rush? You know,
right?
It's the journey's fun, and I think for you, you're gonna get like once you decide to, you'll get caught up like in no time. Yeah. If anything, it might be nice to kind of let it build up a bit in a pile, so that once you do get back into it, you'll have more to enjoy. But I guess just out of curiosity, top 3 characters then, since you got very far.
Top 3 characters. Oh, boy. Well, man, that's hard. Shoot. Dang.
Yep.
Oh, man. There's so many.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, Straw Hats alone. Like...
Do you want to just do Straw Hats alone?
Well, no, because that's still hard because they're all so good.
Yeah.
You know what's interesting is that for a little, mostly near the beginning, like Zoro was my top guy for a while. Sure. But as time went on, I got really into Luffy because for a bit I was kind of like, oh, Luffy's never really the character type that I'm really into. Yeah. Like that's totally Zoro's my jam. Mm-hmm. But as time has gone on, Luffy does so much cool shit. Like.
Luffy also matures.
Cool. He's up there.
Right?
He does.
He matures while still being
really
fun.
Good stuff.
Right? Like, he doesn't ever lose his sense of fun and his personality, but you still get a sense of his maturity, which is great. So I'm with you. Luffy gets a lot, like better and better as time goes on. Like a fine wine. Okay. So would you say Luffy's your favorite then?
Oh man, I don't want to say he's my favorite. But man, he may be. Okay. He may be at this point. Frankie's really up there.
Frankie's great.
God, I love Frankie. Mm-hmm. Frankie's really up there. Here's the thing. Yeah. Really, honestly, all of them are really up there. That's the hard part. Usopp, I love Usopp.
Okay.
Really, weirdly, I feel like the girls can be kind of a downer. I feel like they don't get enough.
I agree with you, although Nami is still one of my favorites.
Nami's great. Yeah. They're both great.
Oh, they're both great.
But they just sometimes I feel like they don't have enough to do. They're like not involved enough, and they don't get enough of the comedy moments too, as compared to the guys. I feel like too.
Robin is especially underutilized, yeah. Although when she does get comedic moments, they're usually like the best comedic moment of some.
They're very good.
Yeah, so no, I totally agree with you. Like, especially like in an arc as long as fucking Dressrosa, it's like really we can't get like more Robin while we're at it. Like, come on.
Right.
But okay. I'll just say that, I mean, even though I haven't seen Wano, from what I've read and what I've seen of clips, you got a lot to enjoy. It's great. I've actually been watching a couple of the One Piece movies lately for the first time.
Oh yeah.
I don't know. Have you seen any of those?
Yes. Let's see. They started making these like summary movies, right? So like there was an episode of Sabo.
Yeah.
I don't know what the last one that came out was. There was the Alabasta.
The Alabasta one was a while back. The Sabo one is technically a special, not a movie, but yeah.
Oh right.
Although it's feature length, so it pretty much is a movie. I actually haven't seen it yet. The Chopper one is very good. Have you seen that?
No.
Okay,
what
they
is
did.
It called?
I think it's movie 9. I think it's something like Chopper and the Drum. I don't know. It's literally just a recap of Drum Island.
Okay.
But the only difference is, well, there's a couple differences. It's like a theoretical. What if, I believe it's up to Frankie, maybe Brooks there. I forget. I always forget if Brooks there or not. But like it's like at least up to Frankie. Where what if Frankie up to Frankie was there at Drum Island? So because it's whatever was current at the time. It's those Straw Hats going to Drum Island or Drum Kingdom or whatever it's called, and it's a complete retelling of Chopper's story with Wapol. And then Wapol has a brother who has mushroom powers. It's very goofy, but the thing is, like, I had very little expectations for it because like retelling, who cares? But I loved it because Chopper's backstory to me is devastating. Like it's it is,
yes.
And so just imagine that, but like extremely. I mean, not that it wasn't well animated, but like they really lovingly animate it, and like it's like I think like 40 minutes of the movie is just that, like retelling like that whole backstory, like very like effectively. And I was just taken in, and then the fight with at the end is still good. The animation's great. Yeah, it's one that really surprised me. I saw that for the first time. One Piece movie 6. I don't know if you are familiar with that one. Baron Omatsuri. That one is.
What are they doing that one?
They go to an island and there's a baron.
I haven't watched a ton of the films.
Okay. It's one where they go to an island, there's a baron there, and they participate in like these games, kind of. It's by Hosoda, who did like, Summer Wars, Wolf Children. So animation style is incredible because it looks nothing like any other One Piece movie. But people really like that one. I was like, it's okay. I was a little disappointed, but I still think it's good, but almost more like the style of it was so good. I kind of wish the rest of the movie had been up to par. And then I saw Stampede for the first time. Have you seen that one?
I haven't seen Stampede. I think the last one I saw film was Film Gold.
Okay.
I have not seen Stampede still because I think I was waiting for it to either for us to get a copy of it, which I think we do, and then I didn't I didn't watch it.
Sure.
Or for it to go to streaming. But I really want to see Stampede because that looks great.
Stampede is fun. It is a lot though. Like there are like 1,000 characters in it, and I think its greatest strengths are where it's just having fun. Like, but when it's like, I guess I won't spoil anything.
Okay.
I'd be curious.
I know that
I'd be curious
a ton
what your
of returning
thoughts
characters.
are. Like when you do watch it, especially as a One Piece fan. Like I'd like to hear your thoughts whenever you do watch it, because it's if you were not into One Piece, I couldn't see deciphering that movie whatsoever, just because it's so
okay.
Whereas if you are a One Piece fan, it's pretty much just like, hey, we just want to have fun and have like a ton of these characters in because it's the anniversary. So
right,
structurally it's kind of a mess, but it's still fun. I just kind of wish it had focused on keeping it being fun and light, and instead it becomes just very like almost like serious battle between between like Luffy and what the fuck is his name, old Dougie Bullet or whatever his name is. I wasn't, kind of reminded me of the Broly movie after a certain point of like I enjoyed the Broly movie. I don't know if you watched the Dragon Ball Broly
I've only
movie.
seen bits and pieces of that. I haven't seen it in its entirety. No.
That whole movie is a fight, which I'm here for. Like that's I actually watched that at the premiere in the theater, and it was a hoot. I think that was the best possible way to watch it, was with an audience. But after a certain point, there's a little bit of fatigue, right?
Right. Yes.
So I think that's kind of how I felt in Stampede, and like this guy is just like, I'm very strong, and Luffy's like, well, fuck you, and then they fight, and but then it goes on for like a long time. So, but overall, I would be curious what your thoughts are, especially because character wise, a lot of great characters show up in it. That's like the best part, is seeing like characters you don't get to see usually.
Right.
And even in background shots are cameos and cameos. So, yeah.
That's what it seemed like, and that's kind of one of the reasons I'm excited for Stampede, is because I love that shit. I I get a lot of shit because like my favorite Dragon Ball is GT, and a lot of that is because I know, right? I know. But a lot of that is because you get a bunch of the characters that have just been around and kind of forgotten. Like in Z, there is, a lot of other stuff going on.
Sure.
But like you get all of these other characters, and then you've got all of their kids, and then it's just a pile of people that have been around for the whole series, and then they kind of got back to the Dragon Ball route of being very comedic. And that's kind of why I liked GT so much. And I feel like Stampede, though it sounds like it's kind of maybe more action focused, but it's the same sort of deal where you're going to get a ton of people, and they're all going to show up, and they're all going to interact with each other, and you get to have these fun little news stories and stuff. And that's like what I'm really into, that aspect of it.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, you'll have to let me know whenever you do watch it, what you think. But yeah, have you been watching many since you kind of fell off One Piece, what has been sort of replacing your free time these days?
I have, well, aside from working, I have gotten more into watching things as it comes out, which is like not generally I'm watching, like I binge watch stuff,
Sure.
which is another thing that's like One Piece is, I don't know what I'm gonna do when we run out of One Piece, but but like watching things and actually having to wait like week to week. So I've managed to do that, getting back into that. This season, I'm watching the new Cells at Work. Cells at Work, Code Black. I need to watch Promised Neverland because the next season of that has come out, but I haven't started watching.
Oh, you haven't seen
yet.
The first season?
I've seen the first season.
But you haven't seen the second. Gotcha.
I haven't seen the new one. Yeah, the one that's coming out now.
Gotcha.
I've been watching Wonder Egg. Oh, Wonder Egg's so good. Wonder Egg Priority, and Other Side Picnic.
Other Side Picnic. That one I've not heard of. Which one's that?
Oh, you haven't heard of that one? It's basically it's kind of like an anime that's situated around urban legends, but like the urban legends are all rooted in a place that actually exists called the Other Side.
Huh.
Although like it's one of those things where like everybody calls something a little, they have their name for it. But these two girls, they keep wandering into the other side because I think at some point, like if you've made some sort of connection to the other side, you kind of just get thrown into it sometimes.
Okay.
So it's this sort of like parallel world where there are these weird, really wild creatures in it. And it's not super horror. It's more of sort of like that creepy, unknowing sort of deal. And it has the vibe of, I don't know if you've ever seen it. Was it Girls on Tour?
Oh, the one where they're like on a tank?
Yes.
Yeah,
yes. So
Girls Last Tour, like, whatever it's called. Yeah,
Yeah. It's got that sort of feel to it where it's like this world you don't really know much about. And they're sort of just traveling around and like things happen and they're never like fully explained. They just sort of occur.
I see.
And they manage to get out of it. But it has that sort of vibe to it with that layer of everything's sort of like, oh, this is an urban legend, and this is an urban legend. So the girls will be like, I've heard of this, somebody else ran into this creature at some point. So it's this sort of thing. Like they sort of pull together their knowledge of what they've heard.
That's interesting.
To try to like either kill these creatures or get away from them or whatever.
See, I thought this was going to be more like not slice of life, but kind of like a lighter thing. But I actually like this concept of almost like, have you heard of like, this is a bad example, but like Slender Man? How do you kill Slender Man? Or like, how do you kill like fucking...
right.
Yeah, no, that's actually a really interesting concept.
Yeah, that's like exactly what it is too, because it's just like, oh, it's this thing, and then both the girls end up in a way that they can they get attacked by one thing, and it's like I think it's in the first episode it happens, and they interact with it in such a way that they can sort of sense the other side a little better.
Okay.
So it helps them also get away from these monsters, but each one of them develops like a slightly different sense. So they have to work together for it to work.
Huh.
So it's really interesting. I'm very invested in what is happening. It's also one of those things where like if you run into another what you think is a person on the other side, it's very scary too. It's one of those situations because it's like, is it a human, firstly? And then also, if it is a human, do they think that you're a creature? And all, like it's sort of like, yeah, it's very it's not necessarily safe.
Okay.
They it's all pretty, what is it? You can't really guess what's going to happen with any certain situation, so it's really interesting in that way.
Huh.
But yeah, I don't think many people are watching or talking about that show.
I've
because
never
I think
heard
it
of this until now.
I think it's a little slow moving, so I think
Okay.
a lot of people probably dropped off in the first couple episodes.
What studio is animating this?
Oh,
Do you
I
know
don't
offhand? I'll look it
remember.
up. Looks like I don't even know. Felix Film, Leiden Films. I don't know. Interesting.
It doesn't like it looks pretty average. It doesn't have like amazing animation. But it doesn't look bad either.
I was gonna say the character design seemed fine.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I would say it looks fine.
Dang. Yeah. No, because I don't keep up with like current anime. I wait till it's done. Kind of like I assume you did probably.
Right.
But yeah, no. People always talk about Wonder Egg. They talk about what's the Skate 8 or Skate or what the hell is it called?
Skate.
Skate.
Yeah,
Skate.
I've heard of that one.
Yeah, but no one's ever brought this one up. Very interesting. Because at first I thought you were going to talk about there's that one like Heaven's Design or whatever. Like, do you know that one where it's like they're designing animals? Like it's like heaven.
No.
Oh, I mean, I don't want to give you the pitch because I haven't seen it, but I hear it's good. It's like Heaven's Design. I'm gonna give you the clumsy. I heard about this from a friend. Let me see if I find the name. Yeah, Heaven's Design Team is an anime that is about designers creating animals to fulfill the requests of God. And it's like really, apparently it's very charming, just like, you know, my friends are like, it's like, why do giraffes have long necks? And it like goes into like all the design philosophy behind like animals or whatever. Like, it's one I'm definitely interested in checking out just because people have been saying it's a lot of fun. Okay.
So that's kind of like a more lighthearted sort of.
Oh yeah, I think it's very lighthearted. From what I've heard. Okay, as far as for me, like anime wise, we have like a sort of weekly anime club where we each of us brings a show and we watch like an episode a week of each show, and that's been sort of good for me to play catch up. Like I just recently, what were some shows I like recently finished for the first time? I'd never actually seen all of Cromartie High School until now. So that was one I like finally have seen. I'd only seen like a couple back in the day.
Yeah, I've only seen a little bit of that show too, but
yeah,
it's a show, man.
Lately this like the whole, I don't know if you've seen the whole anime bingo thing has had a resurgence on Twitter. If
Yes.
you've seen that at all, like,
Yep. I've seen that, yeah. People posting.
You know, you should fill one out. I want to see, because what I've been kind of doing is like filling them out and seeing which, like, if I don't get a bingo, which shows I keep not, like what would be the easiest way for me to get a bingo. And I've actually made a list of stuff that I've been meaning to watch or want to watch, so that I never fail at getting a bingo again. Like, I want to be the master of anime bingo. Yeah. So
I should look into that.
You should do one. I think it'd be fun. Like, for me, like, just on the top of the list, there's a couple movies I've been like, I just missed out on, and I'd always been meaning to watch, but I just never did. Like, Ride Your Wave, I heard was really good.
Oh, yes, that looked really good. I haven't seen that either. I want to see it though.
Yeah, that one. Night is Short, Walk On Girl.
Yep.
And Mirai. I never saw those.
Same.
Oh yeah,
they all look lovely though.
So these anime bingos are so painful because I'm like, fuck, I've been meaning to watch Ride Your Wave. It's on everyone's goddamn thing, right. And I'm like, all right, okay, I definitely need to write like a couple shows. Like March Comes In Like a Lion, that looked interesting to me.
Yes. Did you like Honey and Clover? It's the same.
I don't really like Honey and Clover that much, and it's interesting because I love Slice of Life. I love Slice of Life, and people are always surprised. I just I appreciate it. Like, I watched, I think, the first season, and I thought it was pretty good, but I
was same, honestly. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I think couldn't get behind the characters in Honey and Clover.
It's honestly very similar. So if you weren't that into Honey and Clover, I don't know that you'll like
Interesting.
March Comes In Like a
People
Lion.
said the opposite for me, like that, or even if you don't like Honey and Clover, they think I would like this one. Maybe because I like, I don't know, stuff like Chihaya Furu and stuff like that. I don't know. We'll see. But
because it's about a board game.
Yeah, kind of, but also it's like, you know, a little more, you know, I don't mind, like, I don't know. It really depends on the characters, and Honey and Clover just had that weird little Muppet girl that I don't like.
Yes, she was something.
I'm 18. No, you're not. You're like an 8-year-old Kermit. Like, I don't, get away from me.
It is devoid of that, like, college aspect, which, yeah, in that sense, I could see that maybe you would enjoy this a bit better. The style of it and the pacing and everything is all pretty similar, but it is definitely more focused on the lead guy. But, yeah.
You know, that's one. Kaguya-sama, Love is War. I hear that one's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I read the manga, like, one volume, and I thought that was okay, but the anime looks great. Dororo, I heard that was good. You know, wanting to watch that at some point. So, I think I was saying, like, the other night, it's like, I feel like I've seen a lot of anime, and I have seen a lot of anime, but it's just, there's so much out there.
There's always more.
There's always more. It's kind of this great feeling of like, fuck, there's always more to consume. Because, I mean, for people listening to this podcast, it's clear, but I'm that person who wants to, I enjoy kind of becoming more and more knowledgeable in my hobbies, right? So, like, board games, anime, even manga I'm starting to get more into now. Like, you know, I love just consuming what's out there, and just, I don't know, so that, because, you know, my favorite thing is like recommending shit to people. Like, oh, you like this? You should watch this, or you should like this, you should play this. Now, we're talking a lot about anime, which I don't mind. I love talking about anime, and clearly you like talking about anime. But
right.
I would actually like to give you the opportunity to, if you would like, is there any topic you want to bring up, or any question for me, or anything? I always let the guest at some point bring something up if they'd like. Otherwise, we can talk about. But is there anything that you would want to talk about or ask?
Well, there were a lot of, like, voiceover questions, right? And because we both do voiceover.
Sure.
So maybe that's probably something.
Well, here's the thing. Do you want to talk about voiceover? Or are you doing because you think people want to hear about it. Because I like talking.
Right.
I like talking about it, but I don't want you to feel like, well, they want me to talk about voiceover. You know what I mean? I mean, do you want to talk about how to get into voice acting? Want to talk about that?
Not
yeah.
really.
So,
maybe if it's something.
No, but if you
more...
if you have any like sort of a topic related to it that you think would genuinely be interesting, like my policy with this podcast is I don't care if the listener is like, I care about is the person I'm talking to like engaged. So,
right.
I mean, is there anything you want? Yeah, I mean, is there anything about voiceover you want to talk about? Ugh.
It's so hard when it's all day long, all the time, every day.
Sure. Well, especially because you've been directing a lot, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, do you want to go into that, or go in with more of the voiceover side? I'm down to clown. Whatever. What's hit me?
I guess we can. I mean, or maybe I guess we can kind of mosey into just working in this industry, maybe.
Okay.
Generally, for a little bit. Anyway.
Yeah. No. How about this? Why don't you? It can be hit me with a question that you think that you just genuinely want to know about, and then maybe we can dive into it that way.
Sure.
Yeah.
Let me think. Man.
No pressure or anything.
Honestly, I just want to ask about your wife, but I don't think.
Oh yeah, you want to? Yeah, you can ask about. You want to ask about my life?
About Anne-Marie. About your wife.
Oh, fuck me. Yeah, no. I get it though. I get it. Yeah. I mean, Anne-Marie is doing great. Yeah. You want to talk about Anne-Marie? I can talk about Anne-Marie.
Sure. Let's talk. Yeah, for sure.
What would you like to know about Anne-Marie?
Or like how is the fam? How are you, and how's Anne-Marie, and how are the cats?
I think as good as everyone can be, right? I think with Anne-Marie, she's been working with Ultra Pro. I don't know if you're familiar, but they do like board games and cards and stuff, and so she's been doing like graphic design work full time for them, and I think she's been she's been really finding the work gratifying. So that's been good because I always kind of like, especially when we moved out here, I was like, you don't have to work a job that you like hate, like I am willing to like support us, but I want you to like kind of, I don't know, take the time and think about like, what's something that you like that's you want to do. I don't want you to just because before we moved, she was working
right.
Like,
you don't want her working something just to work a job that bring in some cash.
Like we were fortunate enough where like I was like, hey, like I can support us easily, and I want you to like take this opportunity to like what do you want to like do. And then I think she took some time off, and then got restless because she's just wants to be busy. And so
I'm the same way.
Yeah, no, and I totally get that. Well, no, I'm kind of lazy actually. I wouldn't mind. But but then she found, or she got this job, and I think it's been very great. Like I think she gets to like, even though it's not like I don't know, illustration or something like super flashy, she still gets to make like, because first off, she's good at her job, and she gets to make like design decisions that really impact and influence the company. So it's a much better fit for her, I think, than like before. Like she was doing like office jobs and like things like that, and it's like
right.
they're jobs, and they're a job's a job, but not really anything that was even remotely similar to her interests or anything, right? And I think this is much more in line with what her strengths are and her interests are. And I think she gets along really well with her boss and coworkers. So it's been great to see. Obviously, outside of that, because we can't really see anybody, that can be very frustrating, and like I'm sure you and everyone else is dealing with. But
Right.
yeah, we're doing good. The cats are still annoying. I love the cats. They like nothing's really changed for them because I have been usually working from home anyway as my default.
Right.
So, well, now I guess they're more used to having us both here all the time. For them, it's been great. For them, they've loved it. But yeah, that's how the old fam has been doing. Now, did we want to go into voiceover?
Sure.
That sounds very convincing. That sounds very convincing.
No, yeah. I mean,
We don't have to.
I can talk about what I've been doing for a little bit.
If you would like, no. Listen,
Yeah.
We don't have to. We really don't have to,
No.
unless you genuinely want to. I want to talk about what you want to talk about.
Whatever. I know. No, and we can talk about work a little bit.
Sure. Okay.
Why not?
What you got? What do you want to?
I've been mostly working on Higurashi. So, because that's the show I'm in charge of right now, directing. So that's a lot of time.
Yeah. And that
pretty
one.
much
I'm sorry to interrupt. Go ahead.
Oh no, they pretty much try to like jam pack my week with as much of it, because there was a bit of that delay. When the pandemic hit,
sure.
And because usually the broadcast dubs there's simuldubs now, whatever we're calling them nowadays, are like 2 weeks out usually, and the pandemic, when everything got kind of like bunched up, and now production's trying to like kind of catch up to the total shutdown that we had before we figured all this out of how to kind of function,
sure.
Which is still kind of like just kind of functioning.
Yeah.
We're a few episodes behind. So, but to try to catch up, like I usually get slammed with just as much as possible in my week, and that on those, it's been full of that, and then
so it was interesting to me, sort of like, because I'd only seen like the first season of Higurashi, and like
right.
But friends of mine were watching it, and then there was this sort of like reveal that it's like not a remake, but it is like a sequel, right?
Yes.
That's from what I'm understanding. And then also, I was also hearing from a friend that I guess they were it was like part of their like weekly anime night, and he like missed an episode, and fun enough, the guy who's editing this is the guy I'm talking about. Yo, what up, Jay? He missed an episode, and they were like, you're on your own to rewatch that one, man, because it is gruesome. And I was like, oh my god, it must be pretty fucking bad if they won't even rewatch it. Because I don't recall there being anything from what I saw that was like so sort of stomach churning that it was like, I can't watch this again. Does the new show just go, or I guess did the season I didn't watch have that, or does this new show bring it to like the next level?
Honestly, I can't remember exactly where everything happened in the old anime, so I can vaguely remember like season 1 versus season 2, but it's kind of all like one big season to me.
Sure.
But possibly, yeah, it might have been, though, no, well, season 1, I mean,
It had
you
blood,
get introduced to the idea of, the murders happening over and over and over again. So, I mean, there was that. I do think that one thing about it with this show, part of it is probably that it's a different animation company, and I do think that we have a better amount of detail in this show that we didn't have in the animation previously.
I see.
So that can be part of it. I think as far as the idea of what's happening and like what is being articulated in this iteration versus the previous one is probably roughly the same. It's just the detail of it is definitely different. And also in some more recent episodes, there is like more just back to back killing happening in general.
Sure.
So it might have been one of those episodes where it was literally just kind of nonstop just bashing and stuff happening.
Okay.
So that has happened. It was probably one of those episodes that they didn't want to rewatch.
I mean, because
but generally the arcs are the same.
I see, because this crowd, like, they're not new to anime, and they're pretty, I feel like, pretty desensitized to a lot of anime violence, and I also kind of am. So I was surprised to hear, especially hearing some of, like, from one of them, like, oh, you can rewatch it on your own. I was like, oh, fuck, it must be pretty fucking bad then.
Yeah.
Which, damn. Okay. So, I guess, okay. Now, as long as we're in the voiceover territory, and this is a very tired question, but I also I'm genuinely curious, so I'm gonna ask it. So, like, how'd you get your start? Like, what sort of but seriously, how did you get involved in the whole voiceover game? Where were your humble beginnings?
Right. What's a bit weird is that when I started doing voiceover, I actually did commercials.
Oh, okay.
And I don't like I don't really do commercials anymore. Though apparently I have a very good voice. I mean, I used to book a lot of commercials. I just kind of, once I fell off of it, and I didn't really go back.
Well,
to
I
it.
guess how did you get into how did you get started in commercials then?
There was there's a local group. So I mean, obviously, a lot of us are from theater backgrounds. I had a everything performance background.
Sure.
So like theater, bands, choir. I had a choir scholarship in college, like all sorts of stuff, and I got into doing that stuff because I've had so many different jobs, and I was doing that thing of like, I really just had to make money because I was taking care of like elderly grandparents, and I also had a very small kid. So I was needing, but with that, I was needing to be home a lot more.
Okay.
So generally I was taking work that would either allow me to take time off if I needed to like take someone to the hospital or something, or if I needed to like have my son at home or whatever it was. And so it was between that and a lot of like telecommuting things.
Okay.
And I really wanted to do something that was more creative though. And really when you're in that sort of situation and you're in performance, and if I did art, maybe I'm a terrible artist. I could never I can't draw to save my life. That would be something that would usually be more you could transition to doing at home more, right?
Sure.
But for performance, like what I was used to was like you worked really, really hard on doing a show. We would put in tons of hours on like a play or whatever, or a musical.
Yeah.
And I couldn't afford that anymore, like I wasn't able to do that. So voiceover was something that I had some friends that were doing it, and a lot of them were doing this from home stuff. It would be either that, obviously the auditions are generally at home. No one really goes in for auditions anymore. You do sometimes, but all of that's pretty much at home. And then even some jobs you could do from home. Now we all do it from home, but back then, it wasn't as common, but plenty of people still did it.
Sure.
So I started getting into that. Dallas it's defunct now, that had a meetup group. And this is actually a place where, and probably you knew him too, was Brad, our buddy that just passed. I had met him there at that meetup group. And I was involved in that, and that group was also, it was commercial focused. So that's kind of why I started off in commercial stuff. So it was like regional stuff, was a lot of it. It'd be stuff like news articles. There was a while I was working jobs where it was just like reading news articles every day, like several of them. Just all sorts of weird stuff.
Sure.
But that's kind of where I came from and like why I went into that direction.
So it sounds
was
like
that
it was...
I was having to juggle a lot of stuff.
So it was kind of like online then, right? Sort of finding work that way, or
yeah, I had that. And because I was taking various workshops and stuff.
Sure.
I would have referrals a lot, like tons of referrals.
Got it.
So I would get into certain casting circles. For that, and they would, send out notices or whatever.
Sure. So we're talking locally as well as...
yeah, a lot of it was local.
Gotcha. Have you been in Texas? Did you grow up in Texas?
Yeah. I'm from here.
Wow. Okay.
Yep.
Yeah. Interesting. And then so doing commercials for a while, and then was there what made the sort of pivot, I guess, towards more character focused work? Was that was that a desire of yours, like, or a goal, or was it accidental, or how did that sort of come about?
I mean, it was kind of a group of things, because I would continue to take these workshops, right?
Sure.
And my ex-husband, he had gotten a job at Funimation, and but I would never. He was at the time he was in such a low position and was also making way more money than me that I couldn't dream of ever doing anything to sour his name. He was also so very new that I didn't want anyone to know that I did voiceover. To the point, like, it's kind of funny because eventually when I did start auditioning for Funimation, like Colleen had seen me in a hallway and was like, "Don't I know you from somewhere?" And I was like, "Oh, I come in sometimes." I didn't say anything about my husband. I didn't want her to know who I was. Sure. I was just like, "Please don't engage me." But I kept it like a secret. And what was also kind of funny, and he's a dear family friend, is Mike McFarlane, because I've known him forever now. But I didn't let him know. Like, I didn't let anyone know. But the turning point for that was that Tony Oliver had done a workshop, and I took it with some other people that were in the community at the time.
Sure.
And I had done that workshop, and he was like, "I really want to refer you to somebody." Like, he took me aside after class, and he was like, "You really should be working in anime. I want to refer you to somebody." And the person he wanted to refer me to was Mike McFarlane, a person I already knew.
Sure.
And so then I had to, like, explain to him why that was and why I hadn't done anything. And he was like, "I totally get it." Like, So, but he was just like, well, he already knows who you are. I would still like to do all this and whatever. And I was like, okay.
Okay.
So, that was the turning point for that. And so, at that point, I started coming in for bits and walla, as you do.
Sure.
And then at that point, I would sometimes get auditions. And the person I mostly got auditions for at that point was Joel McDonald, who now he works at Gearbox now. But he was a person that would always use a lot of or audition a lot of newer people. So I actually, the first thing I booked was with him. Like, the first character I booked was with him. I did get my accidental person in One Piece. I did what we thought was a bit in One Piece, and it turned out to be Gombe, which is that weird cat thing.
Little cat from
yeah,
NES Lobby, right?
Water 7, yeah, NES Lobby.
Yeah.
And because we thought that was like a weird little thing that showed up, and I just happened to do it. And then that was my very first anime session.
Wow.
I ever did.
Wow.
We accidentally did that guy. He didn't have a name on him. I think that was part of the problem, was that at the time, it just looked like any other bit.
Yeah,
And so I did it, and then they called me back. They were like, oh, that thing showed up again. So I had to keep coming in just to be Gombe for a while.
I mean, hey, get that bread, right?
I know.
Yeah.
So that was just a really
Did you come in specifically for Gombe the first time, or was it like Gombe and like background characters? Or...
No, yeah, it was just Wallace stuff. So it was me and like 3 other people, and we just went in. I can't even remember who the other people were now. But yeah, it was a regular Wallace session where you go in and you do like the group stuff, and then they'll be like, okay, we have these random background characters, and then you kind of clean those up.
And you just happen to get Gombe.
Yeah, and and part of that, I guess, was that I was going to be the last person to go because it was with Mike, and he knew that I was new to doing the whole anime thing. Sure. And so he was like, so that I can tell you more about like how this process works, I want you to be last. I was like, okay.
Yeah.
And so I was the last person to go, and I guess like most of the other bits, like Woman 300A was done because One Piece has so many episodes. But a lot of those were done. So he was like, I think that maybe we did 2 bits because there wasn't much left, and Gombe just happened to be one of those.
And you lucked out.
I did.
That's great.
It was so random. Yeah.
Did you end up voicing anybody else in One Piece, or was it mainly Gombe?
I've had one other person. She's in Amazon Lily.
One of Hancock's tribe or something?
Yeah, she's some nerd that studies Luffy. She always has like a notepad and pencil, a Narine, I think.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah, she's in there, and then aside from that, it's like, bits here and there.
See,
yeah, really weird.
I love hearing stories like this, actually, and that's why, because this is not something I I don't know. You go. I don't go to a lot of my friends go, how'd you get started in your job, right? But I find it, and I understand why people ask it, and I find it genuinely interesting. I never really ask, but so it's, even though you were not wanting to kind of interfere in your ex-husband's work, though, you were still taking those character classes, though. So clearly there was at least interest in that direction.
I mean, for sure. I think that also, as performers, will you eventually find your niche, right? But especially in the beginning of it, you're kind of all over the place. Sure. So I was taking those classes. I was taking audiobook classes. I was taking Of course, a lot of the commercial stuff. I've taken a lot of commercial, actually. I really should get back into it because it pays way better than the anime. But obviously, I don't enjoy it as much. But
no, listen, I know exactly what. Yeah. Right.
It pays so much more. But you take, especially at the beginning. And I mean, I still take stuff to see and get outside of my own head and outside of my own comfort zone.
Mm-hmm.
But especially in the beginning, you take like a whole smattering of things, right?
Sure.
As you kind of figure out, oh, like my voice, and you'll figure out too, like what is it your voice books by doing stuff like that. So eventually, you're like, oh, I'm really good for audiobooks. I'm really good at doing this. Or I'm really good at commercials. With characters, and character classes are always good anyway because, and I always heard that from, I want to say like any teacher I've ever had has always said character work is good because you're always going to be playing a character.
Yeah.
Even if you're doing a commercial or an industrial for something, you're still somebody else. Like, you're still playing a character, even if it has that corporate feel to it. That is a character.
Sure.
So understanding how to do that and how to break down scenes, how to break down copy, like all of that is good to have. So character classes are always really good to have. But yeah, like, you take a lot of stuff and eventually you start going, well, I'm more geared towards this, or I enjoy this more too. Because you might take, you could take a promo class and be like, I actually really like doing promos.
Yeah.
I don't know anybody that really likes doing promos, but maybe you are really into just doing like you're really good at doing quick tags, or like you're just whatever it is. You find different stuff to do. Or you find just some sort of process of it really compelling. Like, there's some people that like doing children's book, but they don't really like doing full-length audio books. It's all over the place.
Sure.
But yeah, just taking everything.
So, you're telling me there was, considering your weeb background, there wasn't a point in your youth where I was like, I want to get into voice acting. It was sort of an accident.
I know.
Really interesting.
No. Well, I think part of that is because I've always been way more into music than I was into acting. So I did a lot of acting. Like, I started doing theater in middle school. And I was really involved with it because I was really close with my English teacher at the time, who was also the director of children's theater at our community theater.
Okay.
So that's why I started doing theater, was actually because I was just very close to my English teacher. And she was just like, hey, I think you would really enjoy doing this. And I did.
Now, you mentioned music. So are we talking about singing or instruments or what? Like,
yeah.
What? Oh, okay.
Yeah. So, singing and making music, I just really, man, I wish I had more time for that. But like singing and making music are really what I enjoy the most.
Oh, okay.
And I just happen to find more I guess, work in acting, which is still good. It's not that I don't like acting.
Yeah.
But, like, it's still no one say Michelle hates her job.
Sure.
Maybe sometimes I do. But, yeah, I was way more into music when I was growing up. So what I really wanted to do, actually, when I got to college, too, is I actually wanted to be an audio engineer.
Oh, I see.
And I wanted to, like every audio engineer, I wanted to produce music because, find an audio engineer that went to audio engineering school, and I can bet you they didn't go for post. They went for music and then maybe decided later they wanted to do post.
Interesting.
But I was way more music focused. So that's kind of why I was still very active in performing arts in general, because I just like performing arts.
Yeah.
But I was way more focused on that. That's why, like, I know a lot of people were like, oh, when I was a teeny tiny babe, like I always knew I wanted to be an actor. And that's kind of why I'm not like that, because I really want to be a musician, which obviously I don't do like hardly any of that anymore.
Do you do it in your spare time at all? Even if it's not like professionally?
Oh yeah, I used to sing a lot, and that fell off pretty hard. So I don't quite have my chops anymore, which is disappointing, because then when you go to sing a song, you don't really have the muscles anymore.
I see.
And it's frustrating because I'm like, I know how to do it, and I know what to engage to do that. It's just not there. It's like not strong enough. So I do hope to get back into that.
Have you sung in any of your acting work?
I have.
What did you sing?
A few things, random things. So Day Live, there's a point where my character sings. So there's that. What was the show? What was it called?
Was it an anime?
No. It was an anime. These are all animes. Well, yeah, I think it's all anime. There's another show. It was one with 1 million girls in it. But it was like they were assassins or something.
Okay.
And Caitlin directed it. I don't know, but we all had to sing a song in that.
Oh, okay.
There was another show I sang an ending song for it. For some reason, they had us sing the ending.
Oh.
I don't know why.
So was that what played during the credits?
I don't even know if it came out that way. It did.
Oh,
It was like one episode. Okay. It was just one episode, though. It was like one episode, and they had us dub that song. It was weird. But I guess like I guess it was 3 main girls. I was one of the main girls. But there was 3 main girls sang this song, and they had us
What was the show?
It's a bad show. It's called... wait, my name's not even on it. It's a bad show. No, it's
you don't have to say if you don't want to then.
No, let's not. Sure. It was a bad show.
Maybe tell me afterwards, but yeah. Okay.
That's a rough one. But we had to sing that.
Okay.
It's just random stuff here and there. But it's kind of funny because I think it was the last time I was at Gearbox. They were having us. There was some part of the thing we were doing where we had to clap it, like in time or something. And I did it on the first try. I did the read and I clapped and I did everything on the first try. And Joel was like, only one other person has been able to do that. And I was like, oh, like people are having trouble with this? And he was like, yeah, like everybody, like nobody can do it in clap, like they can't get the rhythm or something. I was like, oh, okay. I was like, well, I was like in band and choir and stuff. Yeah. So then at that point, I guess it never come up before with him. He started writing in lines, I think, where I literally said, like, I was in choir and just clapping. And I guess I just yelled that at the player or whatever. I don't know if they're still in there, but he, like, wrote a bunch of lines in like that. Yeah, just, I don't know. But, yeah, just random stuff.
But I'm glad, though, that, like, you're still getting to do it, though. You know, it's still there. Like, you know, yeah, no, it's very interesting because I feel like a lot of voice actors our age were like, maybe like high school onward, like, I want to get into voice acting, you know, voice acting. So it's very interesting to me to hear about like, oh no, you wanted to be an audio engineer, that's really interesting. Like, because you know, I took a bunch of audio classes in college because. At that point, I had no fucking idea how I was going to get into voice acting, but I knew that this would help, so I took a lot of...
Right.
My college years were a lot of video and audio classes, and I took, like, the advanced audio, you know, production courses and everything, and I feel like every other student were all students like you, who were like, I'm in this for the music, and I'm just like... I'm here effort. I'm just here to get what I can, and it was a great. I don't know. It was one of my favorite classes. Like I had a great time and learned a lot. But that's so interesting. Like, very cool. Now we're about at the hour mark. Is there any last things you wanted to cover, or what? Like any last words or
last words?
That
Thank
sounds
you.
grim. Any last topic you wanted to cover, or what?
I don't know, man.
Yeah, it seems like we covered a pretty good gambit here. Well, I think it's always a pleasure. And where can people find you?
Let's see. I am Little Ramyun on basically everything. No one's taken that username.
That is a very good username, honestly.
It is, right? No one knows what that is. So
I'm gonna hit you with one last question then. Your ideal ramyun.
Well, I've been really into, gosh, what is it that I've been just really into lately? I ate it today. Is it Nongshim?
Describe the flavor.
Well, it's kimchi ramen.
Oh, kimchi ramen. Okay, yeah.
Yeah. But the brand, it's Nongshim.
Mm.
I've been eating that a lot lately. But I mean, the classic is seafood spicy for me. I love that. Oh, that's what you use in the
You're talking about noguri?
Yeah.
Yeah, noguri is great. The chapaguri. Is that what you're talking about? Yeah.
I've always got a box of both. And you know what? I still haven't had chapaguri yet.
Oh.
Still haven't had it.
It's really good.
I keep it on hand. I still haven't made it because I can't eat all that. I can't cook both of those things, put them together, and then finish that off. I have to find a second person.
See,
that
for
wants
me,
to go in on
I'm
this.
like, finally, enough food for me to eat. Like, because I love chapaguri, I love noguri. Like, in fact, I had not had noguri for a while until the whole chapaguri thing sort of was like because of Parasite or whatever. And then I was like, I had it on its own. I was like, fuck, noguri's good. I'm always like, I grew up in like a shin ramen household, right? So it's like, shin ramen, just get shin ramen always, all the time, or chapaguri or something like that. And
yeah.
noguri's got a really good broth. And the noodles are also really fucking good.
It's so good. It's a solid instant noodle.
Did you ever get into the burdak bokkeumyeon? The super spicy stuff? Okay.
It's fine on occasion, but I can't that's a sometimes food. A very sometimes food.
I see. Yeah, no, I don't. It's for me a sometimes food as well. I can't eat it all. It's not like a shin ramen or noguri where you can just eat that all the time.
Right.
Yeah,
That's
totally.
easy.
Yeah. Although I think they have cheese ones and carbonara ones. Those are pretty good. Those are
those aren't so bad.
Yeah.
They definitely don't hit you nearly as hard.
Yeah. Well, thank you very much for